Welcome to Holding Space. Michael Zen is a visual producer and creative photographer using his imaginative visionary energy to channel Zen and hold space for spiritual and innovative discussion. Each episode creates a supportive, accepting, and open environment that allows exploration and expertise to come together with engaging and entertaining convergence. With guest and community all helping the shape of the way, Michael is grateful to be together to hold space. Now here is your host of Holding Space, Michael Zen.
Hello, hello. Yes, it is true. Here is your host, Michael Zen. It is also true that I am grateful to be together holding space for you for this moment, especially in this moment, right? In this moment that we are in on the outside, the moment that's going on the outside. I'm holding space for a moment inside for you guys, and you guys all showed up. I feel like I want to make a little animation of me like opening the door and welcoming you in to the space. And so I do appreciate you guys being here. I'll let you guys all settle in. I did see Arnie Layton out there. I saw Bernadette out there. I see me and my shadow out there as well. What is happening? Good to see you. Good to be here, and good to see you here. I love this platform. I love the idea that just a regular guy like me can put up his table and say, hey, I want to hold some space, and people will show up. And it's been a great experience doing this for the last couple of years with the live stream of consciousness, and in the last year with holding space as well as like a secondary one. So I appreciate you guys being here. A little bit of business to help me tickle the algorithm. If you are catching this live, just type in the comments #live. Anytime you make a comment, if you put a thumbs up, if you just hit the space bar and hit a comment, it helps the algorithm know that there are people here and there's stuff happening and you should pay attention. So thank you. And I see Evelyn out there. What is happening? And we have Northern Ireland checking in the house. That's awesome. I love it when it becomes international. We're growing by the moment, just energetically, by people showing up and being here. I love that. Amazing. Well, I'm excited tonight because I'm going to be meeting somebody for the first time, and it's somebody who I know immediately is like my tribe, right? Just by looking at this person's who they are, what they do, and there were some words used that really kind of tickled my fancy. So I'm going to introduce my guest in just a little bit, but I'm going to keep you in suspense while I intentionally create this space that we hold. And you guys know how I do that. Each week with my trusty bowl sage, I sage the space. I create a nice space. I invoke intention. I think that's the important part of it, right? Is creating a space intentionally. You guys are here intentionally sitting, and just get comfortable and be here intentionally for the next hour and just enjoy the conversation. We're going to open up with 3 breaths, something you guys should know how to do. I shouldn't have to teach you, but just in case you forgot, it's in through the nose, a nice deep breath, maybe about 3 or 4 seconds, hold it a little bit at the top, and then an intentional push out the stuff that you don't need. Think about, while you're up there at the top, think about something that happened that you don't need to hold on to, and push it out, push it right out your lungs. All right. So let's do this together. 3 breaths with sage. Here we go. In through the nose. Hold it up at the top, and then push it out. Once again. In through the nose, feel it coming in, nice and cool, nice and refreshing. Let out what you don't need. Just let it right out. One last one. In through the nose. Let it out. Breathing is fundamental. I love it. I love breathing with you guys. I love setting the intention of the 3 breaths and just setting the space. I'm just letting Sage finish her ring out here before I put her down on the ground. There we go. I know you guys can't hear it as she's ringing out, but I feel it. I hear it. All right. Are you guys ready for the show? Here we go. All right. Tonight's guest comes to me from the quantum realm. Kelly booked this guest on the show for me tonight, and I looked into what he's doing. He's got a really great book called the Slipstream Shaman, and I guess that's what he's referred to as well. I'm really excited. The words that he used in his about were learn to release the suffocating anxiety of daily life. I know a lot of people can relate to that. Now, I feel like a lot of people who watch this show can relate to it the same way that I do, in the fact that I can remember what that felt like. Thankfully, I don't feel that anymore, the daily suffocating anxiety of life, because I've learned how to deal with it. I've learned how to process it. I've learned how to think. I've learned how to use my mind and understand this year's theme, right? Creating your own reality. I understand I am the director, the actor, and the observer and the audience. I'm all of those things in my own life. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, I hope. And welcome to Holding Space, Mr. Todd Wilcox. What's happening, Todd?
Hi, Michael. Man, I'm so excited to be here.
Cool.
I love Sage. Thank you for sharing Sage with us. That
Thank
was
you.
a
Thank you.
beautiful way to get this going. Really got me focused and even happier than normal. Thank you.
Awesome. I love it. I'm so happy that see, validation. I'm always wondering, like, do people really care about this three breaths thing? I mean, I know I do, but
Absolutely.
it really works, and that's what's so good when you do it. If you do it
Yes.
and you're there intentionally, it works. Thank you for appreciating it. That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I see some people showing up. I just want to welcome in Mandy. I want to welcome in Vivian from Hawaii, my favorite place on earth. We've got Allison. We've got Amy. Awesome Labyrinthian Criterion. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Evelyn also certainly loves Sage. Thank you, Evelyn. I love that. Awesome. Well, you come to me, like I said, Kelly booked you on the show, but I was excited as I tried to learn a little bit more about you. You have, I'm going to pop your website up here down at the bottom, slipstreamshaman.com. And I also want to bring that up on the screen here as well. Give me 1 second here as I share that. Here we go. Share that window. Boom. And that should show up. I've been having some weird issues with StreamYard lately, not being able to share the show. The browser can't access my screen. I'm gonna have to pass on that for the moment, unfortunately. Oh, but I think I can actually drag. Oh, I dragged your image. Let's see if it'll let me share that. Thanks for bearing with me while I do this.
Absolutely.
It's not going to let me share that either. I got to make that into a JPEG. Oh gosh darn it! All right, well, there's the website, folks. That right down there. If you can go to the website and see the beautiful cover of the book that he's got. I love the imagery on the cover of the book. Very colorful, and kind of it gives you that ethereal feel, right? That, I don't want to say psychedelic, almost like that meditation kind of feel. That's what it feels like to me a little bit, almost like what you see when you meditate.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So Todd, welcome to my show. And what I like to do on the show is hold space for people and find out all about their puzzle piece, right? We all hold a piece of the puzzle. And I want to find out all about yours. Tell me how you came to write a book called Slipstream Shaman.
Yeah. Well, excuse me. So the whole process of the Slipstream Shaman actually started from a way that you might not expect. I was in a paranormal group. I'm still part of that group, and we went on hundreds of investigations. And when you're doing those kind of things, you meet other people in other groups, and got to know many, many groups. And one day, I get a call from somebody in one of those groups inviting me to join I hate to call it a super group, but it was kind of a super group. They were taking one or two people from a bunch of different groups, putting them together, and wanted to figure out a way to help people that nobody else could help.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, man, I'd love to do that, but what are we going to do? If I couldn't help them and you couldn't help them, how are we as a group going to help them? And so we started talking about different things we could learn. And what all worked for me was the shaman training. We brought in a shaman to teach us how to do some work. And I didn't really resonate with this shaman. As she was teaching us, she was, teaching us how to find our energy. Like on the front of the book, you can see my hands holding energy. And my energy didn't look like hers. She says, it's going to be hot. Well, mine was cold. It's going to be red. Well, mine was light blue at the time. It evolved and ended up looking, it was crazy when I got the book cover from a friend of mine. That is exactly my energy. I don't know how she got it so perfectly, but everything lined up. Wow. But so instead of arguing with her, I just listened to what she was saying. When I went home, I didn't want to interrupt the group. I went home and practiced what she was teaching us, but using my energy and knowing that it's okay that I just knew that my energy was different and that it was okay that it was different. And I want everybody to know that, just like fingerprints and snowflakes, everybody has their own energy. Nobody's is right. Nobody's is wrong. It's yours. It's right for you. Yeah. So don't worry if you don't have the same experience. In fact, I would hope that your experience is a little different than mine if you decide to, to study with me. And so as I was doing the work with the shaman work, it was just an evolution. It started off was I found my energy and I realized I could put it on me for protection when I was in places that might be sketchy, paranormal wise. And then one day I'm working and I'm in this room and I didn't know what was going on in the room, but I knew when I was there, I could do bigger and better things than I could in my living room. And it was amazing. And I called it the quantum room, and it's evolved just like my energy has evolved over time. So has the quantum room. It started off as just a place like in a cloud, in a gray cloud. Now it's in deep space. It's kind of like where you're, like what I'm looking at behind us. Probably the darker part of that is what it looks like and feels like. So this feels like home. Cool. And so I was doing some of the shaman work, and I thought, I just intuitively felt like I needed to have some kind of a warrior group with me when we did these things. I was a Marine and everything. And so, of course I leaned that way to start. And so I create this warrior group, and it ended up being most of my dogs that had passed came to be on this warrior group. And they would help me sniff things out with people in houses, and then we could remove it metaphysically. And it finally dawned on me that nothing survives in a vacuum, right? If you remove something else goes there. And I realized if we were going to remove something from a person or a house or a pet, we needed to put something else there. So I created a love team to fill that void with love and healing energy. And that's how this all came about. It grew on its own. And so this is an offshoot of shamanism. It's a unique offshoot of shamanism, and we get to places very rapidly. The slipstream comes in. Picture you're driving on the freeway, and it's happened to all of us. You're driving along and a semi passes you, and it like pushes you out of the way and then sucks you back over. Or if you get right behind it, you can drive much faster without using as much gas because you're in that slipstream. Race car drivers do it all the time. And so we're using that slipstream to get things done faster, to travel timelines, to work on things that we want to do, and to help people and animals and places heal.
Interesting. Wow. All right. That's a lot to unpack.
Sorry.
And I do want to unpack it. Right. So you said you were doing shaman work, and you said you didn't really resonate with the instructor. Right.
Right.
But there was something that kept you intrigued in the work, right?
Yes.
Because you felt drawn to the work. But what you said, I find very interesting and important. And you did say that was the way that it was described to you was not exactly what you were experiencing, right? And specifically, we're talking about the color of the energy, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's important. I think, that's kind of one of the, I got to find the right word here, not the issue. It's just kind of, when I see people doing healing work and being very specific with their imagery, I've had that same experience, right? Where I'm not experiencing it that way, but
Right.
I'll experience something, and it'll be my own experience, and that's really what brought me to this right here, where I love talking to different people, because I feel like it all represents the same thing, and it's all exactly what you said, our own unique interpretation of that energy, and like it's the way we're perceiving the energy and the way we're transmitting the energy.
Yes.
And I saw somebody who said it. Somebody said, oh, Kelly said, yes, it's like an energy signature. And I can remember oftentimes, in my travels, in my studies, right, because I'm always trying to learn and seek, um, phrases will come into my periphery. And I can remember for a while, energetic signature was an important phrase. I started to recognize the energetic signature, not only of people and beings, but of situations, of places, right? Everything has an energetic signature.
Yes.
um so it's great, and I love that we can have these conversations, and that it took you to this place. So another thing that I noticed when I was kind of researching you was talking about meditation.
Yes.
And I also have experienced a lot of people, when I say, "Oh, meditation, man, that's the first thing. That's the first thing you got to do." Uh, Very often, and I'm sure you get this, the response is, "Oh, I can't meditate. I can't slow my mind down. I can't shut my mind off." And I've come to find it's not even about shutting your mind off. Mindfulness is almost about opening your mind, to be more aware of everything that's happening, and not focus on one thing, right? I guess.
Yes.
But like you said, for everyone it's different. I don't want to explain it my way and somebody else be, no, that's wrong, or I can't do that, right? Which is
Yeah.
why I think people say I can't meditate, because they've been described something that they feel like should be happening.
Right. And that's one of the beautiful things about meditation is it's yours. And so, I go to a quantum room that looks, like deep space now. And not everybody that I work with ends up building a quantum room. Some just are there, just at a place, just in their mind. But everybody's quantum room is different. The ones that have worked with me, it might be in a car, it might be a mountainside, it might be a temple, it might be the moon, underwater, under the sea. There's some really cool quantum rooms people have described to me, and
Mhm.
those are as unique as your energy signature. And so just enjoy it. And I think you're dead on talking about meditation. For me, I've got this crazy ADD. My thoughts are running 400 million miles per second on 20,000 different things, and to make that stop, no, I don't know how to do that, but I do know how to go to a place where I can relax, go to a place where I can focus, go to a place where I can lose track of time
Mhm.
as we understand it. Sometimes when I'm in that quantum room, 10 minutes will go by for my physical body, and it feels like I've been doing it for 3 hours
Mhm.
in meditation.
Mhm.
And the opposite. Sometimes
Mhm.
I'll do a 2 or 3 hour session and it feels like 5 minutes. So I just let whatever happens happen. And I do, focus on my breathing and focus on my energy. And I use my hands to help with the energy. I've used rattles to help with energy. Like I said, with the way my brain work, it took some rattles for a while to help me stay focused.
Mhm. Mhm.
And but once I did it long enough, I could, and then I would go to that room, and it's different every time. You never know
Mhm.
what might visit me. Had an amazing experience not too long ago. Just this energy that came in, pure love energy came in and spent some time with me and just blew me away. I
Yeah.
was shaking when it was over.
Do you, I want to ask you if you want to share it, but Arnie is saying amazing how that works. The loss or unawareness of time. I agree. And it does go both ways, right? Sometimes it's
Yes.
5 minutes seeming like a year, or sometimes it's like a year seeming like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. And I think that's also kind of a testament to, the idea of time not existing. I don't even want to get into that, but like the idea of time is not necessarily what we think of it is in a three-dimensional, sense. But then when you get into a meditative state, you're kind of in this place where it doesn't exist, and
Right.
everything changes. So yeah,
And you can,
how cool is
and
that?
even with it not existing, or maybe existing all at once, or however it's happening, you can actually move around in that time. You can go back and look at things. You can go forward and look at things. Really, some really cool things. One of my favorite phenomenons is retrocausality, where you can basically heal past wounds,
Mhm.
generational wounds,
Yeah.
and watch that healing come toward you. Um, on what I represent as a timeline. It might not be an actual timeline, but I can see a wave of change coming at me.
Mhm.
When I've done healing work in generational
Wow.
issues.
Wow, that's awesome to see it visually. I can I can remember experience I had, and it was kind of along those lines, generational, where just in thought, I was in thought, I guess it was all in thought, right? I mean, that's where it all happens. That's where reality is. I was thinking about my dad who had passed, and some of the strain in our relationship, and I came to a realization about it, and how it didn't really matter or whatever it was. But in my own coming to the realization, in that moment, I felt it happen in his realization as well. Like, it was a
Yes.
healing that like both of us just healed in that moment through a thought, through a realization.
Oh man. Yeah, I felt that right in my heart when you said that.
Yeah,
That how wonderful that must have been.
yeah.
And I'm glad you were, and it was so powerful that you were actually able to remember it. One of the things that something I would like to talk about is when you're doing this kind of work and you're really getting into a place where you're meditating and you're losing yourself, either take notes as soon as you're done or have some kind of a dictation thing on your phone so you can talk a little bit while you're doing it,
Mhm.
because your brain, your mind is not going to hold what you did in this different place. It's
Right.
too different. You'll remember it for a little while, but if I don't take notes immediately, I forget the whole thing within
Yeah,
an hour.
yeah.
And so
That's
I
good
have
advice.
to keep notes.
Yeah, no, that's really good advice. Definitely had a lot of experience that I can't remember as much, but the ones that were pretty,
Profound.
epic, and
Yeah.
profound, I can remember, definitely a few, moments in throughout my seeking, right? Meditations and stopping at a red light and having a thought, and then like, just like leaving for a minute, a split second and coming back, but having this entire experience, right?
Yes.
It's really amazing. So I love that you talk about quantum healing. I love the idea that that's even coming forward, right? So it's
Yes.
like in the scientific community, they're talking about quantum theory and quantum physics, but also in the spiritual community, in the healing community, they're talking about the idea of the quantum realm. Excuse me, the quantum, even the concept of what quantum is, which kind of correlates with science, right? And it's like this superposition of infinite possibility.
Yes.
So why don't you tell me about how this all kind of led to that word for you? Like, what is the quantum realm? What is quantum in your
Yes.
definition?
And so quantum to me is all about energy. And the shaman work is all about spirit. And I find that when I'm in that quantum room, I'm interacting with energy and spirit at the same time. And I think that's where the name came to me, Slipstream Shaman,
Mhm,
adding the quantum side of it with the shaman spiritual side.
mhm,
And so and when I say energy and spirit, there's a lot of things that can be energy and spirit. Prayer
mhm,
of any religion would take you to a place of energy and spirit. Meditation will take you there. Daydreaming will take you there. You can spontaneously go, like you said, you're at a stoplight and you just go.
Mhm.
So there's many ways to get to that place, but it's a place where anything is possible. Where you can fly if you want to fly. You can grow a new arm if you need to grow a new arm. You can repair things.
Mhm.
When I don't do the, I call them healings. They're probably more of an energy alignment than healing, and I'm not able to do those anymore. There was way too many requests. I didn't charge for them, and I don't charge for them, but I've been overwhelmed. I'm years behind, so I can't take any new ones on.
Mhm.
But as I'm working with the people, um, maybe if I just tell you about how one worked out,
Yeah,
that
tell
might
us
be
a
a
story.
fun one. So actually, I'd like to tell you two. One that really drives it home, and one that I just absolutely love. The first one is I was working with a lady, and she was on. I used to have a radio show called My Side of the Universe, and I had a psychic on, and I had this lady come on as a guest to get a reading. Well, while she was doing the reading, I felt something with her, and after the show, we were talking, and I said, I feel like I need to do this energy work, this healing for you. Is that okay? And she said yes. And so I, went into my meditative state, and she's not with me. You can do this for people. I saw Northern Ireland. I've done it for people in Ireland. I've done it for
Cool.
people all around Europe.
Remote, yeah.
Yeah, one on Easter Island. I mean,
Cool.
One of my favorite places in the world. But so I'm doing this healing with her, and I bring her into my quantum room, and got the warrior team, which is mostly dogs, and it's led by a beagle that I had named Desi. She was the most beautiful dog you ever saw.
Mm-hmm.
If you look straight down at her, it looked like she had wings on her back. The way her hair was, the color
The
of her hair,
markings,
it was
yeah.
amazing. She was beautiful. She was also the toughest thing on this planet. Rats. She would get a hold of a rat and it was done. She'd get a hold of a snake. It was done.
Wow.
Big dogs would come into our yard. They had a problem. And so she was tough, pound for pound, the toughest thing I've ever seen. And she was the first, when I said, I'm making a warrior team in the quantum room, she was the first thing that came to me.
Oh,
and
wow.
She's been the leader, and she had this amazing nose. And so I've got this lady in the quantum room, and Desi starts sniffing around, and she goes over to her, and she starts kind of digging at her side, under her arm, in her ribs, and leans forward into her body. I mean, it was an energy body, but into her body, and she pulls this thing out that looks like a rag. And we lay the rag on the ground. We give it cleansing energy to get it ready for healing. Then the love team gives it love energy so that it can heal and be itself. And it went from being this worn out, gnarly looking rag that was in this lady to this beautiful little boy, this little blonde haired, blue eyed boy, great big smile. He looks at her, he looks at me, he looks at the dog, and he walks away just happy.
Wow.
And there was a couple other things that took place during that. But when I talked to her later about what had happened, she said, well, I've been having heart trouble. My heart's getting worse. My doctor's going to increase the dosage of this medicine, and I don't know how this is going to end. I'm very nervous. She was in her late 50s at the time. And I told her what had happened. And so she was excited that I was able to, identify that area.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was doing this, I didn't want to know anything about the people. I wanted to know that they had something going on. When I knew what was wrong, my human brain would try to do something, and I had to get out of that brain and go energy. And so after several weeks, I get a call from her. She'd just been to her physician, her cardiologist. He did not raise her meds. He said, you're better than you were. We're going to leave them as they are now and look at dropping them in a few months. Well,
Mm.
3 months went by, she went back in, he dropped her meds.
Wow.
3 more months, he dropped them again. Within a year, she was off the meds and healing. Her heart was back. And
Wow.
that thing was what I would call a companion item. So it started, something on her started as something positive at one time. Okay. So you're a little kid, you're watching wrestling, and those guys, they tie stuff around their arms, to make them look tougher. And so a kid will do that and realize, hey, that kind of takes pain away. When you've got things tied on your arm or your arm hurts. Well, if you're 5 years old and you tie that on and it helps your arm, that's great. Unless you leave it. Now you're 6. What's it doing to your arm? Now you're 10. What's it doing to your arm? Now you're 20. What's it doing to your arm?
Right.
And that's what these companions are. That rag thing had started as something positive for her.
Wow.
And she outgrew it. So we got it out of her, gave it its life back, released it back to its natural state, its natural energy, where it can go do something to help people.
Wow.
And then there's another form that's called a parasite. And these things either started out as a bad intent or just were something bad, bad energy that got going. And we do the same thing with those. We remove them, we cleanse them, we give them healing energy. Sometimes they can't take it and they just kind of melt. Sometimes they change back to a good energy.
Wow.
And I want people to think about this. I've had a real road rage problem my whole life. I yell at a lot of people when I'm driving, and I might show them a finger that I have on my hand. And I realized that those negative thoughts that I was having, those bad intentions, could be causing some of these. And so I've done my very best to knock that behavior off. I really have worked at it, and I'm much better. But anything we can do that keeps us from having those bad thoughts, bad intentions, the negative stuff, I think goes a long way to raising the world's vibration. And so something to think about, that we can all work on.
Yeah.
And then the final thing, and I don't see these very often, and it's just I don't know if you want to call it a demon, an alien. It's something that's not of this world, not of this energy, that has attached to somebody. And those are harder to work with and get rid of. And they tend to hurt people a little bit more. But that was the experience I had with her. And I've had a lot of healing things like that. But my absolute favorite adventure, I guess I'll call it, was I got a call from a nurse, and she worked for a healthcare place that does transplants, liver transplants, lung transplants. And she called and said, hey, we've got a young person that's failing. They had a transplant and it's not looking good, might not make it through the night. Is there anything you can do? And I said, yeah, if you're giving me permission, I'll reach out. And so I used the nurse as a conduit to find this person. And this was, when I invited the person into my quantum room, it was just this little boy, very tired, very weak, very gray. And I didn't pull anything off of him. I just surrounded him with both the warrior and the love team and fed him energy until his color started coming back. He started getting stronger, and then energy burst out of him and was going to people in his life, feeding them. Once he was okay, I saw this other little boy, and he looked like he needed the same thing, and we did the same thing, but he was the donor. So both the recipient and the donor came to me that night, and all that the donor wanted was for his family to heal. Very beautiful little boy, just wanted the family to heal. And when we wrapped it up, the donor left, and I was still with the recipient, and I just wanted to see how much conversation I could have. And I said, can you tell me your name? And I'm not going to tell you what they said for confidentiality, but I'm just going to say, he told me 2 letters, so I'm going to say CC. Those were not the letters. CC. And so I'm thinking, CC, is his name Charlie? Is it, I'm trying to think of all the C names I can think of. And he just kept smiling at me as I was saying the names and saying C. And so he finally left. And the nurse called me in the morning and said, I don't know what all happened, but the little boy that I needed help with is up and walking now. He's going to be released tomorrow.
Wow.
Everything changed. He's up and walking. I said, well, that is awesome news. Is his name like Charlie or some name that starts with a C? And she says, why do you ask that? And I said, well, I asked his name, and he kept saying C. And she laughed and says, yeah, his name's Cece.
Wow.
So he was telling me his name. I wasn't picking up what it was.
Interesting.
But that's the one that makes me the happiest of all the times I've worked with people.
Wow.
And I think what's happening many times is I'm that straw that breaks the camel's back. I'm the guy that pulls the thumb out of the dike so that the water comes out and that the energy starts flowing. I'm that last bit of the puzzle. I'm not saying I could have helped that young man if he didn't get the transplants. What I'm saying is there was something in his energy that needed a little bit of alignment, and that's what
you pulled him through that. Wow, that's crazy. So I'm fascinated in what you're talking about, and I definitely want to unpack that now. All of that, because I have had some conversations with some people. I had never even heard of the term, and you tell me how this might relate to what you're talking about or not. But the term psychopomp, I believe that was the term that I heard. And that was kind of the idea of healing people of these energies of like, and you even described it like demons, right? These all of these different things are energies, right? Even if they're like just like words, right? And not like beings, right? They're energy, and they get stuck on people, and people like you come in and you know how to release this energy, and I've kind of haven't heard it described quite the way you're talking about it, where it actually will kind of transform from this rag to this boy. But what's important about what you're talking about and fascinating to me is different things that people are experiencing, whether they be bad moods, or you even said it, right? You're on the road and you're experiencing road rage. That could be an external energy interacting with your energy. Is that kind of what you're telling me?
Well, it could be, or it could just be me creating some kind of external bad energy. So I'm guessing one of those two things is happening. And I hate to be the seed that causes somebody pain down the road, which kind of be like a curse, the way we look at curses.
Sure.
So I hate to be the person that germinated that seed or created the seed. So I really believe that there's the 3 things that are taking place. One is something that started positive. We've outgrown it, and now it's holding us back. Very benign, very nice. It wanted to be our friend, and now we're going to release it so it can go out and do good things for somebody else. Then the negative ones, the parasites that started out as something bad and is really trying to get you, and then the demon, alien, monster, whatever that final thing is, and those are so rare. And I've done thousands of these, and I've only witnessed 3. So there's not many out there. Mostly what I find are what I call the companions, the things that started off positive, and we outgrew them and misunderstood what they were there for. But yes, I think that fits in what you just described as a psychopomp with the
so I just looked it up. It says a psychopomp is a guide, deity, or spirit entity tasked with escorting souls from the world of the living to the realm of the dead, acting as a mediator in liminal spaces. So it's not quite, it's more of maybe the spiritual version of what you do. Or maybe maybe you're conjuring your own psychopomp energy,
Could be.
Energetically, that psychopomp part of you is coming out. But really, I think what's lighting up in my mind in response to what you're saying, and this is really, I guess, how I look at life, is the idea of we are navigating energy. all the time, whether it be a conversation with you that I'm having right now, or me sitting down on the chair that I'm sitting down in, right? I'm navigating energy, and I'm deciding how that action goes, right? I can sit down on the chair hard. I can say, all right, Todd, what the hell's up with you? You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna control the energy that I have in the situation. And
Yes.
then you're going to respond with your energy, and then we're going to kind of navigate together in this particular circumstance, right?
Yes.
So I really thought when I started researching you, like we were going to have this positivity party, right? Because I know that's a lot about what you're about.
Yes.
But it's interesting that we went in this direction, because I think that's a part of it too, right? Is navigating all of the different energies that we might have. And I think it's the key is really being aware that that's even what's happening.
Yes.
is that you're navigating energy, and that you're kind of the captain of that ship, whatever vessel you're navigating with, right? Which is
Yes.
my body right now. But whatever it is, I'm the captain, and I can steer it any way I want. So tell us about the positivity aspects of your book and what you do. I'm really curious about like what a whole session would be like. I might have to like barter with you or something, and like might have to work together and see what this is like. I'm really I'm curious,
Yeah. So that, it's a great question. And so, and really what the book's about is it's showing you how to do this so you can do it for yourself and others. But it's, as far as a session goes, like I said, it can take place anywhere in the world. We don't have to be together. You don't even have to know I'm doing it. I just have to have permission from somebody that it's okay. Quick example. Lady was in the hospital, and she was having these just awful nightmares. She was hooked up to all kinds of machines. She was in the ICU, and she kept thinking that there was these creatures like the Borg from Star Trek, the part human, part machine, that were coming after her and doing things to her. And I was asked to see if I could help her with the nightmares. And when I brought her into the quantum room, she was actually in a coma at this point. When I brought her into the quantum room, I just saw this like tornado above her head, just garbage spinning around and that. So we quieted that by first grounding it. I hooked and metaphysically hooked wires, conduit, so that we could ground out the energy, and then replace that with love. And I found out that those nightmares stopped that day. So that was wonderful. But anyway, a session with me is you're sitting in your house in whatever state you're in or country you're in, and you may not even know I'm doing it. I will go into the quantum room, and I'll have my phone out with a dictation app playing, so I can talk and describe what I'm seeing. And so what I might see is Desi will walk up to you and start sniffing around. She'll find something in your knee. We'll remove it. We'll clean it, feed it energy, and I'll describe what it changes into. And then I talk about filling that hole with love. And we might find 4 or 5 things on you, or maybe just one. And my physical time might be 10 to 20 minutes. Usually it doesn't take me more than 15, 20 minutes. And it's usually even less than that of physical time. In the quantum room, it's taking longer, but we're looking for all those things that are attached, removing them, taking care of them, because we're at first I just wanted to beat them up and burn them and stuff, like that. And but I realized that these things started off as something good, and so as a shaman, I want to heal those things too. So we're feeding them and getting them back where they need to be, so they can go do this again for somebody else. Once it's done, we're gonna once I've found everything Desi can find, we're gonna surround you with the love team and just flood you with love energy until it's coming out of all your pores, out the top of your head, out your fingertips, out your eyes. It's just going everywhere, and you're rejuvenated. And then we're just going to let you relax, and I'll let you know what took place. It may make sense to you. It may make sense a week later. The things I tell you, it may make sense a year later. It may never make sense.
Right.
You might have a backache and I'm taking stuff out of your knee. Why? I don't know. That's just where it manifested. Thing. I don't try to interpret it. If the person I'm working with has an interpretation, I'm all about it.
Right.
But I don't try to interpret what I'm finding. I just let them know what I find. And even if I find something really gross or really cool, I tell them, don't be upset by that. That's just how it appeared to me.
Right.
It doesn't mean those things are happening. So that's what a session's like. You might not even know I'm doing it. You might get a little bit cold. My energy's on the cold side, so you may get cold while I'm doing it. But because it happens outside of time, your physical body and physical thoughts may not even know it's happening. It's happening at an energy level where things start flowing right.
Right. So I have two questions for you. One is there an element of, I'm kind of sensing there might be an element of like past lives in there, right? Like something that you're healing may not be something that the person is currently aware of, but it may be something that happened to them in the past that, you're healing. So that was one thing. So cool. And then I guess, now I lost the other thing. Shoot. What was it? I'm fascinated by this. I think it's amazing. Oh, the other thing was, so for you, it's not like I was imagining almost like a session, right? Like we're talking through it, or you're maybe guiding me through a meditation or something like that. Right. But for you, it seems more like, would you equate this to kind of like a channeling? You put yourself into like a meditative state and go to another realm and almost like an astral traveling kind of thing.
Yes, it's very much. It could very well fall into the channeling realm, into the astral projection realm, into the now I forgot what it's called, where you're looking at things from a distance.
Remote viewing.
Viewing. It gets into all those aspects. It's similar to all of those. And one of the places I want to go is, like with Ed Casey, he went to the pyramids and believes that there's a room under the Sphinx that has all kinds of records and different predictions. I would like to see where I can go with those kind of things. That's kind of where the future is. The immediate future is glimmer, and I would like to talk about that a little bit. But I did want to mention, you said past lives, and the more I do this, the more I wonder if it's possibly concurrent lives instead of past lives and future lives.
Sure.
That all this is, and we don't understand the makeup of the time.
I'm totally with you. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I feel like it's just easier for people to kind of understand when you say past lives.
Yes,
but I agree with you. And I also agree with when people talk about their higher aspects of themselves. Right. I feel like that's, higher can be a word for it because you feel like you're this and it's that, but those are just terms, and it's all relative because it's all still part of the same thing.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that higher self might be what led me to this, led me to the quantum room, led me to find these things.
Yeah.
And so I really like thinking about the concurrent lives and the because the past lives, I get kind of a painful feeling when I think about past lives, but I feel much better thinking about concurrent lives. So
cool. I get it.
Whether that's right or not, I don't know, but it seems energy.
Again, I think it's just everybody's different, right? So even perception and language is important, and it's funny because I have some people who I know, and I'm very open-minded, I guess you could tell. But like I have people who are friends of mine who talk about the idea like they've been told, or in a meditation, they've discovered that they were once Ra, right?
Okay.
And I'm always like, well, weren't we all once Ra? Like, you know what I mean? Like, isn't that a part of us all? Like, and I don't want to be like, oh, I'm trying to take something away from them, right? But I'm trying to kind of make them understand, like, yes, it's absolutely amazing and special, but it's also not amazing and special, right?
Yeah.
Kind of in a way to keep it humble, Um,
And
I
I
think we
mean,
have a question. Sorry, I
okay.
didn't mean to interrupt you. Curious if you've experienced healing where there's quantum entanglement, where the soulmates and families share energy and lifetimes. Does one healing affect? Does the healing one affect the others in the group? In your
Yes.
experience, and yeah, you were
Yes,
talking about that.
absolutely. And really, when I'm doing these healings, the last part, and I forgot to even talk about this a minute ago, but I always ask for 7 generations to come visit this person after the love team is done, and it's different every time. Sometimes 7 generations from the past, 7 generations from the future surround this person, and they start spinning, or they might all start dancing, or they
Wow.
might all start doing this. So there's a different energy reaction every time, when the 7 generations come in. And yes, I love quantum entanglement, where we're a um, connected souls, connected energy knows what's happening to the other one immediately, no matter how far away they are. So realistically, if I could get my focus right, maybe I could do this type of healing for some alien creature light years away.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
It should work in theory with quantum entanglement, just like it does for us, being together in this um, computer room,
Right, right.
uh, or in the same physical room,
Yeah,
or in another part of the planet.
yeah,
There shouldn't be an issue with distance, and we know that thoughts can travel faster than the speed of light.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like, that's the real power, right? Is being able to kind of navigate this vessel here, or whatever, through your thoughts, being able to, you know, instantly switch into another aspect of yourself, or, you talk about aliens across the universe. Like, I even believe that those might be aspects of ourselves, like
Mhm.
we're, it's all a part of the same thing. If you subscribe to the idea that source split itself into all of us to experience itself, then there are so many possibilities and so many things to talk about there, right? There are so many like amazing adventures and aspects to that.
Yeah.
Um, Let me ask you a question. I saw there's another podcaster, Emilio, who asked this question, and I love this question, especially in this community, in this moment. Um, what are you most excited about in this moment?
Oh, in this moment is I've got two things. One, I just loved what you said about "weren't we all once" when you were talking about Raw, and yes, we all were once, and we all do have that connection. So that was the cleanest description of that I've ever heard. Thank you for that. And then, what I'm really excited about is the concept of glimmer.
Yeah, what
Finding
is
those little aspects in life that are nice. It might be, a giggle from a baby. It might be the
mm,
way a bird landed on a branch. It might be the the shape of the frost on your windshield. Just those little moments of happiness and beauty.
mhm,
And that's what I'm working towards now, kind of the next phase we're going with this.
yeah,
And I'm setting up a video to help people find, kind of train their mind to
nice,
find glimmers. We
nice,
find other stuff, but I want them to be able to find glimmers.
nice.
And anybody that wants to shoot me an email, go to slipstreamshaman.com and go to the email and say that you would like to know about the glimmer. It's going to be free. It's something that I
I
will
love that.
send you a
No, I
link
love
for.
that. And
And
and for me, as you're talking about it, I feel like it's a matter of, and I believe this is the key to everything, intention, right? It's a matter of intentionally being aware of that. I can
yes,
remember a moment when I was younger, in a brand new relationship, walking down the sidewalk with the girl I was with, and hearing the birds and feeling like they were singing to me. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like, specifically, like, and that was it. That was because of the moment I was in. I was able That was my perception, was kind of open, and I was in that flow. Um, but I believe, and I said this earlier, and I think you do too, that we create our own reality, and that is really my mission. And where I saw similarities in your mission is right is that I think without putting too many words, right? Because I'm very intentional with my words. I think we are somewhat conditioned to feel like life is suffocating anxiety every day. And it's just a matter of choosing it. And I can remember, I hear people talking about toxic positivity, and I get it, what that means. But I feel like first you have to have positivity before it could even be toxic. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
You bet.
And then if you get it right, it doesn't become toxic, right?
Yeah.
But yes, I can understand people getting sick of hearing like, "Hey, man, all you got to do is think positive," because they're not ready to hear that or process it the right way. But as I said at the beginning of the show, that phrase that you used, the suffocating anxiety of daily life, I can definitely remember feeling like that. And I
That's,
can say, "Oh yeah, I remember what that feels like." And proud to say I don't feel like that anymore,
that's
and do
awesome.
I have my moments where it's like feels a little heavier? Of course. But most of my life is not that, right? And so it's like I think you kind of automatically on a mission when you realize it doesn't have to be like that to help tell people that it doesn't have to be like that.
For sure. And something that I love about these conversations is as you're sharing a story and I'm sharing a story, our stories are unlocking memories of the people listening. They're hearing, they're reliving one of their stories that's similar, and so I love that. And I would like to throw this one story in, and I just got thinking about it as you were talking. Maybe the first time that I went to, maybe not call it a quantum room at that time, but I went, completely internal. I mentioned I was a Marine. There were times where we'd be in formation for hours for inspections, and for me that was free time, because as soon as we got into formation for that and we had to wait, I was in my head. I was doing stuff. I
Mm,
was having all kinds of fun. I could hear people whimpering around me. I would hear people pass out and fall down. And I couldn't wait for the next time we got to do it, because it was a chance for me to go 100% internal
that's awesome.
into, possibly that quantum space. So hopefully the stories that we've told tonight have sparked some interest in people, and sparked some of their own memories, and they're able to take action and do some great things.
Absolutely. And I believe that if that person wasn't here tonight, they're going to stumble across this video at some point, and it'll reach the right ears. But I do believe that this audience does receive the energy and help to reflect it out. That's what I love about the Sacred Spiral Network. I didn't get a chance to
Yes.
shout out the Sacred Spiral Network tonight. Kelly Brickle and Jennifer Rose, and I saw Nancy Muratalo was here. The whole crew. It's such an amazing bunch of people with amazing messages. What a great platform we have here to have these conversations. So thank you so much for agreeing to be here.
Oh,
Somebody in the audience is saying, "Todd, I have an old buddy from Center Mauritius named Ralph Wilcox. You kind of look like him. Any relation?"
it's hard to say. My guess is if he's really cool, we are. Uh,
In- Interesting, totally interesting. James is saying, "I'm a shaman and a healer." And James, I'm gonna say thank you for being here. Reach out to me. I'll put my email on the bottom if you have a story that you want to share. I would love to talk to you. There's my email at the bottom of the screen. I think we all have the ability to be shaman and healers. Again, it's a matter of
yes.
intention, and again, without using the word of being conditioned. I don't like even talking about that kind of concept, but I do feel like it's a matter of just break away from the things that might seem a little odd to you. 20 years ago, I saw a guy on YouTube channeling the Galactic Federation, and I was like, "Wow, that's a little weird for me." And here I am now, and I'm talking to people who channel the Galactic Federation, and getting all sorts of messages, and really feeling like a deeper understanding of the universe, as I have these conversations. So it's great. And thank you, Jennifer. She says, beautiful show. Thank you so much. Sacred Spiral Network gratitude. Yes. He says he is cool, so I guess so. Very cool. And I love that there are people that can help people like this. I believe that we are all here to walk each other home, to help each other, raise the vibration. If you talk about energetic interactions. If you think about an energetic interaction, what it feels like to yell and scream and fight versus what it feels like to love and support and compliment and those kinds of things, it's just, there's such an amazing difference in the way it feels. And that to me is like the indication right there, like how to be aware of your essence and create your essence. So again, thank you for being here. Before I let you go, do you have any I always say this, my audience is sick of this, but words of wisdom, words of love, or maybe some dad jokes?
I love dad jokes.
Awesome. Maybe we'll get a good one. You got a good one?
Yeah, I do. My favorite ones involve snowmen. And so what did one snowman say to the other?
Happy birthday. I don't know.
Do you smell carrots?
Do you smell carrots? All right, that is a dad joke I have never heard, and I got to process that one. But thank you, thank you for the dad joke. I never get a dad joke. I'm so glad I got a dad joke.
I can promise you a new one every time you have me on. How's that?
Awesome. We'll definitely have to have you on again. I definitely appreciate you being here. And for folks, for next week for Holding Space, let me see. I know Kelly got me a guest for next week. Jess Walton is going to be next week on Holding Space. And then I have February on the live stream of consciousness. I won't be doing a show this week. Janice, my wife, is doing an event. She's doing a group reading, and I'm very excited to be supporting her. But the week after that, I'm going to have Vanessa from Emerge. She's a holistic center. Jacob Cooper's coming up. He's an NDE survivor and an author. He's amazing. Brenda Lee, Brian Lars coming up on the live stream. It's going to be a great month here as I create my own reality, and I love to do it. So thank you guys for being here. Todd, again, thank you. And we'll see you all next week. Peace.